hey, look at this, it's the video that I promised to deliver at the end of last year, me doing a year review when the year is actually done for a change, which coincidentally is also the time when nobody cares about year reviews anymore. So just to see how I structured this last year, right, I checked out the video, the 2018 review, and holy shit, was I fat. Like, damn. I'm pretty glad that I lost like a couple kilograms, and shout out to my man Beast for helping me out with that. Firstly, most importantly, of course, memes. I have to be honest, right? I don't recall any of the memes of this year from the top of my head, which is good because I script these videos so I don't have to. But frankly, I feel like 2019 was big for exploitables, not necessarily for like standalone memes or living memes or that kind of stuff, which may be attributable to the fact that there's a lot of weird shit that happened this year. I mean, I think we had big chungus this year. And in terms of the exploitables that we did get, none of them I loved to an insane extent, but they were all of pretty high quality. I think a surprised Pikachu was this year, that was decent. The Samuel L. Jackson one with the clip from Pulp Fiction, that one was placed in a bunch of very funny contexts. Yes, but actually no, that one was pretty good, I thought, never really reached its full potential, went away quite quickly, even though I do feel like it had staying power. Format that did make use of its staying power this year was the Winnie the Pooh one, which I hope the Mr. Chairman had a bunch of gripes with. Actually, this one stayed for a long time. Maybe this is just a German thing, though. I don't know how many of the memes that I've seen of this were actually sort of international, but I like it. I also discovered my inner boomer this year, not necessarily in the context of OK Boomer, the outrage at which I just, I love. It's like, how dare you dismiss the opinions of an entire generation by simply not taking their contributions to the discourse seriously. Oh my god! Listen up, you youngster! We fucking deregulated the financial market to a point where now it's just an endless boom-bust cycle that crashes, and then is paid by the taxpayer, and the poor people become poorer while the rich people become ever richer, and worsened the climate with our emissions and our deregulation of industry and extreme expansion of infrastructure just because it was a bunch of cents cheaper than the more, ecological option, thereby destroying the future of the planet to be taken seriously, okay? But the one with the cat? I don't get it. It just doesn't resonate with me. That's my inner boomer. In terms of channel development, I had a few like unwarranted scares this year. Most recently at like the 25k stream, after which I was like 2 subs away from 25k. And then I lost 300 subs over the course of 2 days. And looking at my analytics, I don't seem to have recovered from that because it didn't happen. So yeah, it seems to have been some like weird YouTube glitch that I have had no commentary about. I did make it to 25k apparently still last year. I hadn't been checking the numbers while I was away on vacation, so that was a very nice going away present. Obviously, this being YouTube, monetization money has been getting less and less over the months. It happens. It's what this platform at this point is all about. However, I have managed to achieve financial independence through my phenomenal community by punching way above my weight on Patreon. It's genuinely crazy. My pledges have slowly dwindled over the months to an extent where people with 10 times as many subscribers as me would have lost everything they make on Patreon. That is how amazing this community of fans I have is that is supporting me. And so even though, I am tightening the belt a little bit, especially with the backups that I have, so long as nothing unprecedented happens, I should continue to be set for the near future. Maybe I'll get like a small side gig to do the insurance payments that I'll have to start next month. But it's like this is the dream, and it's all because of you people. I did, and this is really great, this year for the first time do a thing that I have wanted to do for probably 13 years, and it's this. I published my very first short story collection, 34 Worlds. I mean, I published my very first, but I'm not sure if I'm going to publish more short story collections in the future. It's mostly about it being a book. And boy, oh boy, did that too just go way better than expected for like one of those self-published things. Genuinely, right? I went through this book with a fine-tooth comb every day for a month before I published it, right? This is the hour after I publish it, I find just not just a major typo, but a major fucking there's a word there that shouldn't be there on the index. That is my level of being this way. I didn't write as much as I did in 2018, or at least I didn't publish as much. Yes, oh yes, there is a novel in the works again, and I think this one might actually end up being good enough to see the light of the public. I actually released just a slew of short stories this December to make up for the lost ones that I kind of just missed over the course of the year. I'm changing up for 2020 the concept of the short stories channel to just, I'm gonna publish a story when I feel like it and when it's done. That way I don't have to rush through production with so many of them. I can focus on the longer ones, which do appear to be of higher quality, better received, and frankly, I have enough short ones. If another one sort of sneaks up on me and I end up writing it and it's good, I'm gonna put it out, but otherwise I'm gonna focus on the bigger projects. But, you know, this is obviously the TheBurgerkrieg channel, and I'm very happy with the way things went. Was able to play around with the more formats that I've been playing around with, especially the Interesting Lives one. Fans of it were a bit disappointed this year because I just kept on pushing up the Helena Blavatsky video. But in my defense, that woman is made of rabbit holes. I am very curious as to what kind of content you liked in 2019, especially what kind of content you would like to see more of in 2020, or just what kind of content you would like to see in general, so put that in the comments, I suppose. Channels that I follow that made it this year, meaning last year in 2019, boy oh boy, are there some. Actually, there's just one, and it's my man Zeino. He's broken the 100k sub mark at some point in 2019. I'm pretty sure it was put in 2019. I'm like 90% sure that was when that was. And he continues to just have success with his like really cool videos, his great style of animation, and we've collabed a bunch of times. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. My man DOPLEX didn't make it in 2019, which I was very disappointed by. All of the people on YouTube that have not subscribed to him. So I'm giving him a shout out now. Go subscribe to DOPLEX.
Hey boys and girls, and welcome back to the only public restroom where shitting in the urinal is not only allowed, it's encouraged.
New channels that I found this year that I've been enjoying tremendously. Keep in mind, these are just channels that I found this year. They probably were very big even before that. Ben G. Thomas, my favorite dinosaur scientist.
Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to a new
I'll be honest, I don't really care about dinosaurs very much. I care about other prehistoric critters. Dinosaurs specifically are like a spot that I just don't care about very much. I also care about like hypothetical future animals, which is the original reason why I went to study biology way back when. And Ben does all of those things, but he also somehow makes dinosaurs interesting. But also he just delivers all this general science news that he has with that little small dash of shitposting that I love so much. Another channel that I found this year is EverydAI, which is not only a clever as fuck channel name, but also like she explains all these very lofty AI concepts in words that even idiots like me can understand.
In theory, by calling it artificial intelligence, one would expect that there is some benchmark that once we reach it, we will consider that system to be intelligent, presumably in the same way that we consider ourselves to be intelligent. Well, it turns out, like many things in this world, there isn't really a line, and any line that you could say that we've been moving for years.
At least I feel like I understand a lot of AI stuff now, which probably means that I do not. I think she started the channel last year, which is why it's not particularly big yet. So go over there, leave a sub if you want to have like cool AI stuff, and sometimes the more technical aspects of it explained in like layman's terms that you will understand. Flavor Lab is another small channel that I discovered this year. Cooking channel, really, but with like a focus on drinks, it seems like, or at least he goes into like more obscure and exotic drinks quite often, and I like that.
Now, believe it or not, these are actually really simple to make. It just takes a few weird ingredients and just some patience and some hard work and a lot of work, so let's just jump straight into it.
I've obviously not not tried any of his recipes, but I really like his style and his willingness to try out obscure things, so I like him. Plus, you know, Club Mate is my shit. I drink this every single day. But speaking of food, Sam the Cooking Guy is another channel filled with recipes that I will never attempt.
Cheesy, creamy, luscious chicken Alfredo. Exactly what your heart wants. Maybe your stomach. Maybe not your heart. But your stomach will love you.
Aside from the fact that his food looks delicious, I just like him, okay? He just seems like such a great person to like share a beer and a meal with. A man cut from the same cloth as I, nice at heart, but with just a foul mouth, really direct kind of person, bit of a dick, tremendous. There's just nothing like putting some fresh ground pepper on your frozen lasagna after you turned it outside the microwave, because your microwave platter is broken and you just don't really know how to order a new one. The last one you got was when your ex-girlfriend threw her old microwave away because the one before that also broke, and you're not really quite certain why your microwave breaks these platters to such an extreme extent. But this is why you have to take out the lasagna, you have to turn it around, put some fresh ground pepper in, put it back in the microwave for another 20 minutes. On the oven mode, of course, this is a high-tech microwave. Then sit down in front of a computer, watch a complete stranger living on the other side of the world cut just a prime rib beef, make an elaborate recipe, and feel like a chef yourself. And that really helps you get over the fact of your wretched existence. Speaking of food channels, Food Wishes is the Bob Ross equivalent to Sam's just being a cool dude to cook a meal with. It's a completely different style, and I like it.
Okay, this thing is fast, easy, and, believe it or not, affordable. But despite all that, when you bring this to the table, it looks like $1 million. And your guests will be thinking, thank God we're not having prime rib or beef Wellington.
I have no idea why he talks like that, by the way, but I also like it. So yeah, okay, I got into cooking channels in 2019. Fucking sue me. Maybe this year I will actually start cooking things. How about that? Maybe this year I won't just get way deep into ice cream. Which, that is actually something I did do this year a lot, is just making ice cream. With my personal highlight being the watermelon and feta cheese gelato that I created by just sort of throwing shit out the wall and seeing what sticks. Listen, just because I know how to do science doesn't mean that I have the mental fortitude to apply those principles to my daily life. I'm still a dumb person. In terms of funny, this year I discovered Caroline Konstnar, which is how you pronounce that.
Hi there, I'm the CEO of Mattel, Janet Smith. And I'm here to tell you that here at Mattel, we are strong supporters of the feminist movement, and we strive every day to break down the ideal image of what a woman's body should be. That's why we've come out with our newest doll, Brent Crystals. Brent Crystals is our fattest and most racist doll yet. He virtually combats every healthy body and beauty standard, and we think he's a feminist icon little girls can look up to for generations.
I don't even know what it is about her particular style of comedy. It's just that she takes shit posting and she makes it into like a special individualized experience. I'll be walking in the park and like one of her songs will pop in my head, and when I'm home I'll just immediately have to put it on just to get it out of my head, because they're quite catchy. Speaking of channels that were already big when I found them, Jubilee was originally very off-putting to me because they had high production quality, which is typically a red flag for me. But it turns out they also have substance. And boy, is it some of my favorite substance out there that isn't Irish beer. They get people with different beliefs to talk to each other. And they get people with the same beliefs to disagree with each other. It's tremendous just how much these people encourage discourse and dialogue and talking to one another instead of just being dicks and throwing punches, not even shying away from subjects that are touchy in this spooky PC culture. They had an episode recently, right, where they had like LA gangsters talk to each other from different gangs. You know, the kind of people that are known for just doing the shooty shoot and murder, and they were way more civil in conversation and agreed on way more stuff and were way more nice and humane to the other person than like incels and feminists or flat earthers and sane people. And finally, two channels that do the same thing very differently. The first is Worldbuilding Notes, which is just a really nice little place that concerns itself with, you know, world building, but not just in like the big massive scale how to make your own Game of Thrones type world building, but like the small scale, the basal, the mundane, almost you might say anthropological, Le Guinian type of world building that I miss in so many works of fiction.
Systems of descent can be divided into cognatic and unilineal. The first one of the two can be divided into kindreds, stocks, and ramages. The first one of these is probably the one you know best. In this system, you trace your descent through both of your parents and all your grandparents, and then back down to everyone who shares your ancestry.
Concepts are explored deeply, not epically, with just these very short, nice, simple, unobtrusively animated videos. It's tremendous. Then you have Stoneworks Worldbuilding, which does the exact other thing, but there's memes also. He has memes in there.
In ancient states, power and order tended to emanate from the political centers, but those usually weren't very close to the border, so there could be a lot of lawlessness in these areas. C'est la vie! All this made ruling borderlands understandably difficult.
Frankly, because I am a writer, world building channels I do sort of count as educational content for my personal type of context. That's just something I do. And having educational context that's legitimately funny is like, it's good. I like it. Maybe if Crash Course put some shit posts in their videos. That's a lot of channels. This year in music, I don't know why that was a category last year, but this year in music, not too much happened really. I've been listening to a guy called Weval. He's a German, I think German electronic musician on my walks through the park a lot. But mostly, I have listened almost daily to the 1976 Japanese jazz album Scenery by Ryo Fukui. And it's sometimes multiple times a day, you know, and I feel like it might be getting a bit of a problem at this point, like psychologically speaking. Listen, I promise I can stop whenever I want.
What about this year was a roller coaster then? Because the video title says that it was a bit of a roller coaster, and the roller coaster sounds pretty nice. I mean, there's really a lot of bad things happening. And so I wonder if it was maybe just particularly thrilling or something, because the video title as it stands, it just doesn't make sense. Which kind of, I've always doubted your sanity, obviously, as a content creator, but at this point, I think maybe you should be institutionalized.
Well, that's just the personal life category that I was just about to get to, okay? As many of you probably know, I went through a pretty tough breakup that kind of fucked me up for basically the first half of the year, maybe a little bit longer, which at the end of the day, it was a very good breakup. We kept all our mutual friends. You know, it was very, very grown up, very adult. We're good friends ourselves now. We spend time together when she's in town sometimes. It's cool. I also met a bunch of new people this year that I'm very happy to have met. Some of them were just passing acquaintances. Other people I think I'll be around for longer. Especially like the meetup that I had in September, hanging out with some of you guys, some of the fans. That was pretty glorious, frankly. I hadn't expected it to be, like, go this well, but it was really cool. And I wanted the whole month. I wanted to announce a meetup in Hamburg in January, which is this month now. But I didn't get around to it. And now I have to see. I'm not sure it's going to happen in January, maybe February or March. I'll look into it. I also finished therapy after 2 years, like for the time being. Probably at some point I'm gonna see a therapist again when it's like the next step in the evolution of my mental health. But being on top of my problems in that regard, it feels really good. Like I feel like I'm a full human adult person that's capable of handling his own life now. Of course, also my grandfather died. Like early December, I did a small video on that, put a bit of a damper on like a otherwise very good end of the year type area, but it was a long time coming, and frankly I think because he had Alzheimer's and he was very difficult to handle, my grandmother is probably going to live a couple years longer because he's not around anymore, because that shit, I'm just taking care of someone who is that sick. and like not really having the level of support that you should be having for that, it's really tough. Overall, I give 2019 5 out of 6 staplers, 6 out of 7 Trevors from GTA 5, and a spoonful of balsamic vinegar. 2020 already, I mean, aside from like the fucking major audio blunder, that's just frustrating as shit that I had today, it's shaping up to be a pretty good year. There's like a bunch of areas in my life where it's like, this is gonna might go well, which I obviously, whenever that happens, you don't want to have hope, because hope is bad. You notice and catch yourself doing this, is that you think about the future and you always like consider the worst possible scenario, because that way at least if you expect the worst, you're not going to be disappointed. But then when something not even remotely the worst happens, you're still disappointed, because obviously you were having hope, except also you were having like the mental anguish of being like neurotic. If like me you do this, not a very healthy thing to do actually, which probably you also know. How's that for a New Year's resolution? Just change the way you think completely with these 3 simple tricks. Sponsored by Raid Chat. Thank you very much for watching this, now I suppose, second video of 2020. Like, comment, subscribe. There's not really like relevant communities to share this to. I will be posting this on my own Discord server. I don't know where else that would be put even. Consider supporting me on Patreon or Subscribestar, buying some of my merchandise or the new short story collection. Actually, speaking of merchandise, right? I'm gonna revamp the merch store and integrate it into YouTube so it's more easily accessible, because people have been asking me, hey, do you have merch I can buy? And I'm like, yeah, it's right here, dude. Come on. It's literally, this is not some you can buy in this anyway. That's kind of a plan for this year. So hopefully we're gonna have more stock and stuff. Don't worry about it. The same designs are gonna stay. And in that spirit, I hope you had a good 2019. I hope you have an even better 2020. Frankly, the whole 20s. Just make them good. I've always felt like the 20s were gonna be my decade. I hope that they will be. And yeah, basically, see you around, cunts.